Welcome to the El Salvador SV News Podcast, a space for conversation and reflection, where we explore current topics from El Salvador and the world together. You can support this project via PayPal. You'll also find details in the description of this content, or by purchasing digital content of products you might like. Check out what interests you and make a purchase. With that, you help and support us to continue providing content. You'll find all the methods in the content description. Find US on your favorite platform, on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio. We're on almost all platforms as Noticias El Salvador SV.
Okay, so let's unpack this. This week's deep dive is all about giving you the context behind the headlines you might have missed. Looking at everything from a seismic shift in United States foreign policy to landmark legal cases right here in Central America.
Yeah, we have a really dense stack of sources this week, and our mission really is to connect the dots for you. We're linking these big global power shifts to the local issues that are defining El Salvador's future. The goal is you walk away feeling informed, not, overwhelmed. Here's where it gets really interesting. We have to start with this major geopolitical tremor, which is the new national security strategy of the United States. This feels like more than just a minor tweak.
Oh, it's a profound change. Analysts are calling it a rotund shift, and that's not an exaggeration.
A rotund shift. Wow.
It is. Think about it. Since World War II, the U.S. has had these two intertwined global roles. It was the hegemonic power, the world's police, more or less, and the promoter of democratic values.
Right.
This new doctrine, it renounces both. It says very clearly that from now on, the focus is only on defending national interests, power over values.
And the first most jarring sign of that is in the new priority list, isn't it?
That's exactly it. The document lists regions by strategic importance, and Europe. Europe is listed third.
Third? Behind who?
Behind the Western Hemisphere, so the Americas and Asia, the Indo-Pacific. When Europe, for decades, the absolute cornerstone of U.S. alliances, drops to third. Well, that sends a very loud signal.
But it's not just a demotion, is it? The strategy frames Europe's issues as a cultural problem. What does that even mean?
That's probably the most controversial part of this whole document. It explicitly says that transnational institutions, and they're clearly talking about the European Union, are threatening the identity of European nations. So the U.S. is no longer seeing a united Europe as an asset. They're actually framing it as a problem.
That sounds less like a strategic change and more like, interference. Are they suggesting the U.S. is going to try and weaken the EU from the inside?
The analysis points directly to that. The strategy's stated goal is to promote and encourage forces within each country that vindicate that identity. This is a playbook that historically the U.S. reserved for places like America Latina. Now they're applying it to Europe.
I can't imagine that went over well in Brussels. What was the reaction from Antonio Costa, the president of the European Council?
Costa was very direct. He said that being allies, quote, requires acting as allies. And he followed that up by saying it means, quote, not threatening to influence the internal decisions of others. It's an open rebuke.
So some experts are moving beyond words like abandonment and using the word betrayal.
They are, and that's coming from major think tanks. They're arguing the U.S. isn't just leaving Europe to its own devices, it's actively positioning itself against Brussels' interests. Some are even saying the U.S. is now closer to Moscow than Brussels on these issues of national sovereignty.
So we won't have to wait long to see how Europe responds to this, will we?
Not at all. The immediate litmus test is the EU-Mercosur trade agreement. It's been in negotiations for 25 years, and it's set to be signed on December 20th. If Europe goes ahead with that, especially without a U.S. blessing, it proves they're serious about strategic autonomy.
Okay, let's shift focus for a moment to some other global hotspots before we come home to El Salvador. In Venezuela, María Corina Machado dedicated the Nobel Peace Prize to Venezuelans.
She did. And it was her daughter, Ana Karina Sosa Machado, who actually accepted the award. But the Nobel Committee itself made a big statement, too. They explicitly urged Nicolas Maduro to resign.
And next door in Honduras, things are chaotic, to say the least.
Chaotic is the word. President Xiomara Castro has declared the November 30th elections null and void. She's alleging an electoral coup after her candidate got less than 20% of the vote.
So what happens now?
Nasser Isfur is leading in the recount, but President Castro is pushing to just redo the entire election. It's tipping the country toward a full-blown constitutional crisis.
All right, let's talk technology, which brings us back to the United States. President Donald Trump authorized the export of that NVIDIA H200 AI chip to China. That seems like a really big deal. Why was that so controversial?
It's a huge deal because The H-200 is absolutely cutting edge. The controversy is that you're essentially strengthening China's military and tech capabilities. But Trump's justification was purely economic. He said 25% of the sales revenue would be paid directly to the United States.
So on one hand, you're selling top tech to a competitor, but on the other, the U.S. military isn't slowing down its own AI development.
Not one bit. In fact, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth just launched GenAI.mil. It's a brand new AI platform for the armed forces, integrating things like Google's Gemini, and they're planning to add Grok, ChatGPT, and Claude. The future of U.S. warfare is AI.
Okay, that sets the stage for a dramatic pivot. Let's move to national issues here in El Salvador, specifically the pursuit of historical justice. Today is the 44th anniversary of the Mozote massacre.
And the big news is that the judicial case is finally advancing to trial. This is one of the most significant judicial moments in decades. For 44 years, justice has been, blocked at almost every turn.
And a very high-profile name is now attached to this trial.
That's right. The human rights organization, Cristosal, has confirmed that former President Alfredo Cristiani will be tried in this case. That is historic. To bring a former head of state to trial for something that happened during the Civil War, it's a profound shift.
And it coincides with the premiere of a film about it, Luciérnagas in El Mozote.
Exactly, keeping the story alive in the national consciousness.
So while the country is reckoning with its past, current political stability seems, incredibly high. The sources cite a Sid Gallup poll showing a 90% approval rating for President Nayib Bukele.
90% is a staggering number, and 88% also said they feel pride in the mandatory. It suggests the vast majority of people feel the country is on the right track, especially on security.
But that doesn't mean there isn't resistance from, let's say, the more traditional political structures.
Not at all. We have a very strong statement from Manuel Flores, who is the Secretary General of the FMLN. He said, and I'll read this exactly as it was copied, "Ni la Guardia ni el Ejército pudo exterminar al FMLN."
Neither the Guard nor the Army could exterminate the FMLN. For listeners who don't know the history, that is a very loaded statement.
It's incredibly powerful. He's invoking the darkest days of the Civil War and connecting the party's current political struggles to that history of resistance, essentially saying they've survived worse and they'll survive this.
And on the ground, the security metrics are still positive. December 9th closed with 0 homicides. On the diplomatic front, there's a new U.S. ambassador on the way.
Yes, Troy Edgar. His background is really interesting. He's a corporate executive, but also a deputy undersecretary of Homeland Security. This pick seems to align perfectly with that new U.S. strategy we talked about. A focus on interests, commerce, and security, not so much cultural diplomacy.
We're only halfway through this, and we really want to keep bringing you this level of detailed analysis and context.
Exactly, and knowledge is most valuable when it's shared, so you can help us continue doing this work. Remember, you can collaborate or donate through PayPal and by purchasing digital content. All the links for that are right there in the description of this content. Your support really does ensure we can keep doing these deep dives.
Okay, so let's get into the economic factors. Remittances from the Salvadoran diaspora are showing greater stability, with an average monthly earning of $3,904. That's impressive.
It's huge. That stability provides a critical financial cushion for thousands of families here. But on the flip side, the government is facing a major domestic challenge with pensions.
How big is that challenge?
Well, the Assembly is creating a special commission to study reform, and they have to. The new pension debt currently stands at $2,721.7 million. Wow. It is a massive obligation. Finding a sustainable solution is, it's one of the biggest long-term economic issues the country is facing.
And education is feeling the pressure too. The Association of Private Schools reported a 3% dropout rate in 2025.
And the primary reason cited was a lack of economic resources, which tells you that even middle-class families are feeling a squeeze.
On top of that, there seems to be some confusion about changes to the curriculum.
Yeah, parents and teachers are reportedly confused about changes to subject names. They're not sure if it's just a name change or a fundamental shift in what's being taught, which, just adds another layer of stress.
But on a much more positive note for national identity, El Salvador has its second World Heritage recognition.
This is a wonderful achievement. The Cofradía de las Flores y las Palmas de Panchimalco, the Confraternity of Flowers and Palms, was declared intangible cultural heritage of humanity.
33 years after Joya de Seren.
Exactly. And the Minister of Tourism, Morena Valdez, confirmed it. It's a great reminder that preserving these unique cultural traditions is just as vital as economic stability.
Okay, before we get to markets, some quick but sad safety notes. 4 people died in a traffic accident at the Guatemala-El Salvador border. And internationally, 4 tourists died in Spain after being swept away by a wave.
Just sobering reminders to always be vigilant, whether on the road or near the ocean.
Absolutely. So let's connect all this back to your wallet. Today, Bitcoin is holding at an incredible $92,000 US.
92,000. I mean, that valuation is just immense. And analysts are pointing to one key driver: the policy shift at the United States Federal Reserve. The Fed is stopping its quantitative tightening.
Right. Can you just quickly break down what quantitative tightening, or QT, is for our listeners?
Sure. So QT is basically the FAD shrinking its balance sheet. It sells off bonds and other assets, and that pulls liquidity, or cash, out of the financial system. So when the FAD stops QT, that tightening pressure is gone.
And they're expected to cut interest rates, too.
Right, which pumps even more liquidity into the system. And historically, that kind of environment, more cash, lower rates, has been extremely positive for assets like Bitcoin.
And we're seeing local adoption reflect that.
We are. La Cajita Kitchen became the first restaurant in El Salvador confirmed to be maintaining a Bitcoin reserve. It's a small sign, but it shows businesses are starting to use it as a hedge.
Okay, let's wrap with a quick sweep of sports and culture. The Hercules Soccer Club hired a new director technico, Daniel Corti.
And in the world of pageantry, a couple of dramatic stories. Miss Universo 2025, Fatima Bosch, actually walked out of a Telemundo interview over what she called controversial questions.
And tragically, Miss Jamaica 2025 suffered some very serious injuries after a fall during the pageant. A skull fracture and cranial hemorrhage.
Just a terrible incident.
So what does this all mean when we put it together? We've seen the United States signal this massive shift away from global leadership, which puts huge pressure on Europe. And for El Salvador, that might mean a different kind of U.S. engagement, one focused strictly on interests.
And domestically, the country is balancing these huge stability achievements with these major judicial reckonings, like the Cristiani trial, and celebrating these crucial cultural milestones. Critical thinking is just so essential right now.
We hope this deep dive into all these sources gave you some essential insights. And to keep this content coming, please remember, you can help and support us by collaborating or donating through PayPal, and by purchasing digital content. All those links are right in the description. Your support is what ensures the quality of this deep dive.
And to leave you with one final thought, consider what Jose Maria Aznar said, that Europe lost the technological revolution because of excessive regulation. So the question is, given El Salvador's embrace of Bitcoin, what global industry is it best positioned to win in the next decade? Something to think about until our next deep dive.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We look forward to exploring the next stack of sources with you soon.